I done screwed it up again. I started another project before I consulted you guys. Today we have a 2008 Nissan Altima that we're changing an exhaust manifold on because it's broken and it's leaking fumes into the passenger compartment, and that's no good. People don't like it when that happens. So I already went ahead and I've removed the air breather box that was here. I took off the cover that was on the engine because before that it was just plastic and you couldn't see nothing. Now I'm in the process of removing the alternator over here because it's in the way, and I also took off a heat shield. That about brings you guys up to speed on what I've been doing. So I'm going to finish getting that alternator off and then I'll check back in. God dang it. In taking that 14 mil out for the alternator, my socket fell off. Aw, shit. She's down there in fucking Never Land. I got it back, so let's continue. Yay, the alternator's out. Now, if you guys made it this far and won that epic wiggle battle with the alternator, I congratulate you. Because you'll know what I'm talking about if you're actually following this to do what I'm doing. Alright, once the alternator's out of the way, you can start to take out these bolts that are there for the manifold. I got a couple of them cracked without heating them, but I think I'm going to have to heat 2 of them. So, let's apply some heat. Let's get them off. Now I'm underneath the car, and normally there's this bracket here that you're supposed to take off to change it, but normally the bracket rusts through and breaks like that. I mean, that's almost like that on all of them. So if it's like that, you don't got to take it out because the bracket's already broken for you. There you go, saving time. These are your next enemies. These crusty bolts need to come off, but luckily for me, mine don't look that crusty because somebody's already replaced that section of pipe. So they probably had this off at some point, which means those bolts should hopefully come off. Wish me luck. Oh, would you look at that? I got them off and nothing broke. Woohoo! Now I just gotta finish taking out those bolts and pull up the manifold. I'll check back in. They're all out. She's ready to come out. Now, in case you didn't notice all this black soot on the manifold, and you weren't sure if your manifold was leaking and you pulled your thing apart and it looked like that with a bunch of black soot, it's pretty sure that's a pretty good assumption that it's probably leaking, because that's all from the leak. So there we go. Let's get her changed. Or let's get her out and then I'll show you the crack at least. Aha, she's out. And there it is, ladies and gents. That's the reason we're changing it. She's got a hole and a nice crack. Let's see, where's the crack go? The crack goes up to there. She splits over. Focus. It's all sort of cracked around the side. This was after I took off the heat shield, so. Oh yeah, look at this big crack right there on the manifold pipe. Focus. Oh yeah, look at that big crack. So now, we got a replacement used one. We're gonna throw it in, hope for the best. We're gonna put the new manifold into its new home. Remember, it is essential that you reuse the old gaskets. We're ballers on a budget here. For best results, somebody's already muffler cemented all that down there. Use a bit of that too. Cheap, cheap, cheap. Like a glove. Well, that didn't line up worth a damn. Well, if you squeeze, pull, and curse at it nicely, it will go together. Retighten your fasteners to factory snug foot-pounds. Once bolts are retightened to factory snug, we're going to put on the heat shield on the top here, and then I'm going to put the alternator back into place. Before I put the alternator back in, though, I'm probably going to knock this little pin here. I'm going to knock that out a little bit so it slides on a lot easier, because it was a battle coming off, and I don't want to have a battle going back on. Now I got the heat shield back on, I'm starting to put the alternator back on as well. I got the bottom bolt almost in for the alternator. Now I'm going to try to put the belt on like this because this is the way I took the belt off because I didn't have the tool to get the tensioner. Alright, so back to that belt situation. I got it all slid on, but I got that upper bolt out of the alternator. So this is my dilly of a pickle here. I gotta move that alternator back and then slide that bolt through. Hopefully I can do it without breaking some shit. Let's try. Well, by way of ratchet strap, I got the alternator back up where it needs to be, but I'm covering the bolt hole. Epic fail. Ratchet strap version 2. I turned it around and I think I have clearance for the bolt, but this is sketchy and I'm going to put it through before I lose my finger. Sketchy ratchet strap worked and I didn't lose my finger. Great success. Now the alternator is fully back in place. We're going to take this coolant bottle and put it back where it goes. It lives over here in this little crevice. You just kind of gotta shove her home. Then there's a little bracket in here that it's got to go on. That little guy right there. Slide her on. Make sure the wire's not in your way. Clip her down. Put the bolt back in. Call her a day. So now we got all that. I got to hook up my alternator wiring again. And then once that's all hooked back up, I'm going to put the engine cover on, put the air breather back on, fire it up, and hopefully there's no more exhaust noise. This is how you're supposed to fix a Nissan Altima exhaust manifold. Hopefully this is helpful. If not, at least it's entertaining.